Allora, Roberto Frigio, Proiezioni Mentali. Allora, però una domanda da parte dei giornalisti non sposati, volevamo sapere se veramente esiste quel resort per single a Bora Bora o se era solo fiction. E poi una domanda per Vince, lei dice non ama nuotare con gli squali, ma quanto è difficile nuotare con gli squali di Hollywood invece, soprattutto all'inizio della carriera?
Yes, I think that if you're single, a place like the single side is a fine place to go to. There's nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed being single for a long time, and I'm glad that I was and had a lot of fun doing it. I think as your priorities change and if your mind and your heart starts to want children and want family, then that's a nice thing to have as well. But you should do what you feel is right for yourself, obviously. But as far as swimming with the sharks in Hollywood is, I never played the game of relationships or going out and meeting people. I just wrote. I just made my own movies. I never had to sit with people I didn't like. I didn't have to go to places and become friends with the right person. I didn't really care. I didn't really have a lot of respect for a lot of the people, but it didn't really matter to me. Because I realized that if I myself wrote or came up with ideas like The Breakup or work with different people to come up with concepts, I could get my own movies made. So my way of doing it was always the work. You know, work is the greatest thing that you can have in life. I always feel like it's through work. And as I say this, most times when you work at stuff in life, it doesn't go well. Most times for all of us, we fail. But that's really where you learn a lot, is when things don't go well. When things go well, you learn very little. But when things don't go well, you learn a lot. But that's the great gift of life, is to learn your own potential, to keep trying and to do things. And sometimes the things that seem frustrating, we didn't know anyone, I didn't have an agent, I didn't have someone, family member that I could call that could help me. At the time that felt difficult, but in the long run that was my gift. It forced me to learn how to write, it forced me to learn how to produce, it forced me to learn a lot of the things, and it was actually there to make me better. So I think it's the same is true for any of us in life. Focus on what you have control of, and you start to realize you have a lot more control than you think you have. The more you work at something, the more you learn about yourself. And it's not about necessarily being successful. It's more about the lessons learned in trying to be successful and defining successful, whatever that means to you.
Abbiamo delle domande? Prego. Sì, non abbiamo ancora interessando, poi verremo qui davanti.
No, mia è una rapida curiosità. Volevo sapere se per caso il suo amico John Favreau le ha chiesto di fare un piccolo cameo nel prossimo Iron Man.
Well, I hung these guys over the coals for a little bit. No, I went to Las Vegas when they were shooting the end of Iron Man. This is when they were first shooting, and Peter was producing with John. And they had a scene to do, a gambling scene, which opened the movie on the table. And I just came in as a friend just to say hi and spend a couple of days with them. But I started teasing with their producers, saying, you know, okay, I'll do a cameo in this if you pay me a lot of money. I'll be in this movie. And Peter and John knew that I was kidding, but the producers were like, well, how much? Should we get him? Is this worth it? Should we put him in the movie? But you know, they didn't need me, obviously, for Iron Man. They did such a great job on that movie of their own. And you know, John always does such a good job with casting and hiring actors and that kind of stuff. I thought that Robert did a tremendous job in that movie, and so fun to watch him do that. So no, there was never anything serious in me doing a camera.
Buongiorno, per continuare sull'argomento
Buongiorno.
volevo chiedere quali sono i suoi prossimi progetti, se tornerà a lavorare con Todd Phillips, se accetterà altri ruoli drammatici in futuro.
Yes, Todd Phillips I just talked to recently. He had a lot of success with The Hangover, and in fact, one of the writers who wrote with me on The Breakup did most of the writing for The Hangover, but he's not credited for writing on The Hangover. The writer's guild is a very strange guild, the way that it works for credits and that sort of thing. But I like Todd very much. Old School was a lot of fun. What I like about Todd is you know, what I liked about what he did with The Hangover is I sort of equated to music in a way. When I was younger, in the 80s, there was a lot of just kick-ass rock and roll bands that just came out and kicked ass and had some fun, right? So you had like a Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses, and you had like Poison, and it was just a, let's have some fun, this is sex and rock and roll. And then Kurt Cobain came around and it started to be kind of rock with a meaning. And I think that's great, but it's also fun just to have some rock that's not apologizing just to be rock. And what I really liked about what Todd did, what we did with Old School, and then there's been this period where they said, well, comedies, but there's such a heart to it, and it sets this to it. And it was nice that Todd came out and said, no. We're gonna make another one that's like those old 80s rock bands, which is just about having fun. Just gonna make you laugh, completely inappropriate, totally wrong, there's no deeper message here, we're just gonna be funny. And I thought that was quite fun that Todd gave himself permission to do that, and that the movie, that was the point of view of it. So I like Todd's stuff quite a bit. We've talked about doing stuff, so I'm sure at some point down the line we will get back together and do something fun in that vein. Yeah. Do you guys have future projects and stuff coming up? You want to talk about it? Malin, you have some stuff.
Thank you. That's fun. I just finished 2 films after a couples retreat. One was actually in South Africa, and they're both independent films. It's sort of, you know, I think other than Watchmen, most of my stuff has been comedy, so I'm sort of trying both for myself and just to test the waters with stuff that isn't comedy. So I took on these 2 different roles. One was it's a movie called Bang Bang Club. It's about the end of apartheid in South Africa. It's a woman who is a photojournalist. It's quite heavy but serious. Hopefully it'll come out in theaters one day. Maybe we'll come to the Venice Film Festival, I don't know. And then I have another one that's called Happy Thank You More Please, where I play a woman with alopecia, which is basically, there are different types of alopecia, and she has the type where you lose all your hair. So I shaved off my eyebrows, wore the bald cap, o melone, right, in Italian. And it was fantastic. It was such a cool experience to play these different roles and just test out the water. So, I mean, hopefully you'll get a chance to see them. They might just only make it to the festivals and never go anywhere else. But that's what's coming out for me, and hopefully I've got something on the go right now, which I still haven't signed the contract, so I can't talk about it yet. But we'll keep our fingers crossed that there'll be more to come.
Benissimo, abbiamo altre domande da parte vostra?